What is the most eye-catching scene in Kenjutsu? You probably picture the moment when a tatami mat is sliced in two in a single stroke. It's incredibly intuitive. When you see something being destroyed right before your eyes, you can't help but imagine the weapon's power and its effectiveness in real combat. It's just like watching a breaking demonstration in Taekwondo. Seeing a wooden board shatter is far more impressive and looks much more difficult than kicking at thin air. Tameshagiri in Kenjutsu is no different. The sight of a katana making a clean cut allows you to visually confirm the weapon's destructive power, making it feel like a real-world combat technique. That is why many practitioners today focus on whether the cut is clean, cutting more cleanly, cutting more decisively. However, in our obsession with the result of having cut, we often miss the essence of Kenri, the way of the sword embodied in Tameshagiri. In fact, Tameshagiri is not the purpose of training. Tameshagiri is a means of verifying whether my sword line is correct and whether I can generate power from any posture. We will revisit the significance of Tameshagiri in Iaido and Kenjutsu and discuss what kind of Tameshagiri fosters growth in Kenjutsu. First, why do we perform Tameshagiri? Most of our training in Iaido and Kenjutsu involves cutting through empty space. The kata of Kenjutsu ryuha, which have been studied and developed over many years, are textbooks in and of themselves. They contain the accumulated experience of decades, even centuries. That is why the kata of a proper Kenjutsu ryuha are not merely simple movements. They incorporate everything from distance and center of gravity to breathing, body mechanics, and even the psychology of facing an opponent. This is precisely why people say that a lifetime of studying kata alone is never enough. However, no matter how much you repeat the kata, there are certain things that are difficult to verify unless you actually cut something. For instance, whether the tip of my sword precisely hits the target, whether the cut is shallow, or how much power is actually transferred. Of course, many Kenjutsu ryuha also practice kumitachi. By facing an opponent, one learns distance and timing, and masters the flow of actual attacks and counterattacks. However, for safety reasons, kumitachi cannot be performed with real swords. Most practice with wooden swords, stopping just before striking the opponent. Ultimately, we verify the range and power of our sword by actually cutting targets such as tatami mats, bamboo, or newspaper. So, what is evolving Tameshagiri? Tameshagiri is not merely a technique for cutting objects. It is a test to confirm whether my posture, breathing, and sword have become one. However, in reality, we often see trainees repeating Tameshagiri for years at the same distance and in the same direction. Of course, this is a very important foundational practice. There's no better exercise for mastering the sword's trajectory and angle. It is an essential process, especially for beginners. But if this foundational practice has been repeated for years, it may no longer be training, but merely a stagnation in familiarity. Once a certain level is reached, static Tameshagiri no longer guarantees growth in Kenjutsu. True Kenjutsu requires the movement of the feet, the coordination of the body, and Tameshagiri to be seamlessly integrated. The tatami is merely a stationary object. One must cut while moving and imagining real-world scenarios. And once you have surpassed the basic level, Tameshagiri only becomes a living technique when it is performed within the kata of the ryuha you practice. Have you ever tried cutting the tatami while performing the first kata of your ryuha, flowing with its rhythm? For many who practice Iaido and Kenjutsu, it is likely to be the mei. Cutting through tatami or bamboo with a nukatsu, a horizontal cut performed simultaneously with bato, is much more difficult than you might think, generating strong power with just the small trajectory of the sword rather than a large one-handed swing is far more difficult than you can imagine. Even if you succeed at Tameshagiri, there's a high probability that your posture will be more unstable than when performing kata in the air, or that you'll end up overswinging in an attempt to generate more power. Therefore, if we practice Tameshagiri solely as an end in itself rather than a means to an end, there's a high chance our kata will actually deteriorate. In fact, this applies to me as well. I, too, study by watching the footage I've recorded over and over again. In this regard, I have received significant help from Ryushin Shouchi Ryu, the Japanese Kenjutsu ryuha to which I belong. It is a ryuha that focuses on training to handle the katana using the entire body. Before I joined this ryuha, there was a time when I focused solely on cutting. I thought only about cutting more cleanly, more powerfully, and more spectacularly. But now it's different. As I perform Tameshagiri within the movements of the ryuha, I constantly reflect on whether I cut using only the strength of my arms or whether I utilize the connection of my entire body. I believe that if I come to understand the principle of generating power using my whole body, I will be able to wield the katana well into old age without injury. If you see tatami cutting videos on YouTube, look beyond the cut itself. Observe if the movements are just for cutting or if they reflect genuine ryuha techniques. Noticing this will help you appreciate Kenjutsu on a much deeper, more enjoyable level. Thank you.